Stop buying expensive fertilizers and sprays. You can brew powerful, all natural garden ferments right at home with nothing more than banana peels, compost, a bucket, some rainwater. Today, I'll show you exactly how to make do it yourself fertilizers and disease fighting sprays that save money, boost soil health, and supercharge your plants. Team Replay and those in the chat here with us live, have you ever made a do it yourself fertilizer before? Tell me what you made. How did it go? How did it turn out? Good or bad? I want to hear it. Why it's better to make your own fertilizers. Cost savings. Okay, store-bought fertilizers can be expensive, especially organic ones. Making your own from kitchen scraps, weeds, and compost costs almost $0. Custom nutrition. You can tailor ferments to your plant's needs. Nitrogen for leafy greens, or when they're young, they need more nitrogen. Potassium for when they are producing the flowers and the fruits. Microbes for soil health. Living fertility. Homemade ferments are alive with beneficial microbes that bottled fertilizers usually lack. These microbes improve soil structure, unlock nutrients, and strengthen plants against pests and diseases. The sustainability factor. You're recycling waste, banana peels, weeds, whey, etc., instead of sending it to the landfill while reducing reliance on factory-made fertilizers. Transparency. You know exactly what's in it. No fillers, no chemicals, no hidden additives. You will have stronger, healthier plants. Plants grown with living, homemade fertilizers develop deeper roots, more balanced nutrition, and better resistance to stress. I have to clear my throat again. I appreciate everyone who is here for the live show with the demonstration. I have Food Forest Permaculture in here, Robin Gardens. Robin says, I've done the banana peel fertilizer, like the way Carol put it. It's like a Gatorade for plants. Bowtie is in the chat. Kevin says, hello, everybody. Welcome to the beginning of the show. Mobile Tech is here. We are going to get into some wood ash conversations, Howie. Yep. Mobile Tech says, my 1,200 square foot lawn is a worm farm. Fantastic. We are going to talk about worm castings together. Oh, Fox Outdoors is here. I don't know if I said hi to Dave Knight. Thank you. I think that's everybody. We're going to start creating. So I'm going to set this up with trying to see stuff here. So compost or worm casting extract. The purpose is to boost soil microbes and plant health quickly. The time for making this is about 24 to 48 hours and then you use it. Okay, so let's go over some ingredients. So the recipe is for 1 gallon of water. The water needs to be dechlorinated, filtered, or rainwater. For space purposes, I'm not making gallons of each of our recipes together. I'm putting it in 1 quart. Now, 4 quarts makes a gallon, but still, we're going to just use 1 quart for the visual purpose here. So worm castings, I'm going to do, and compost, I'm going to make 2 different jars. We are going to add molasses for the optional addition, extra boost for it, and it will help feed microbes for faster growth. So I'm using these mesh bags. If you can see I don't know what kind they are. It was something I got for a project on Amazon. Okay, so are they made for this? We'll find out, right? I brought some worm castings in. So they are a lot, they kind of look like soil, right? You see how fine they are? This is worm poop, if you don't know what worm castings are. So I have filled my satchel with the worm castings, and I need to tie this closed. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the compost that I brought in. Now, I did not screen my compost, like sift it. So there's, bugs and chunks and stuff in it. and I'm putting it in the bag. Maybe I should have tied this before the show. Okay, so that's going. Place the composter castings in the bag or nylon stocking. Submerge it into the 1 gallon vessel, a bucket with water. Okay, so there it's in the jar. I'm going to add water. First, I'm going to do the compost first. I just brought a bucket in from outside. Compost. In the bag. Same thing. Oh, I should label it before we get too far. Why don't I do that quick? So this one was worm castings. And we're doing the extract. So the extract is when it just sits in there. The tea is when you add air and you're multiplying microbes. All I'm doing is extracting things in this example. So we need it to have a time, 9 p.m., a date, 8/21. It needs to do 24 to 48 hours. We need to be specific with our labeling because we're not going to remember. My fancy labels today are a Sharpie, a Post-it note, and some Scotch tape because that's what I could find. The better label version would be like painter's tape, masking tape, and then just write on the tape. Then it peels off really easily. Compost, bag, jar, label. So once we get the water in here, I'll show you how I'm going to put a lid on it because I want it to have airflow, if I remember right. And we have to stir it, once a day. I am going to put a breathable lid on it just because I can't remember right now if I'm supposed to or not. Like when we do this outside in a bucket, the bucket doesn't get sealed. It's loose a little. So this is rainwater, even though it's in this container. So for the lid, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take one of these bags because I don't have cheesecloth. And if I do, I can't find it. And do I have pieces of fabric? No, I'm not a person that has that. So I'm going to take the bag and make it flat. And I'm going to put it on the jar. And I'm going to take a ring and put it on. Okay. So that one's the compost. Next one, same thing. So how do we use it, right? The dilution rate. Once we've had it sit for 24 to 48 hours, you take the, I might have ripped this one too much. Does this still fit? Maybe I could do it like this. Aha, okay. So for a soil drench, you can use it full strength, like straight out of here into the soil. If you want to use it as a foliar spray, so that's when you put it in a spray device, either a hand, just like you're spray cleaning, or a pump sprayer, or maybe you have a tractor with a sprayer, to apply on the leaves, the foliage of the plants at night. You can dilute it 1 to 4, 1 part extract, 4 parts water. So for examples of what that means, 1 cup extract, 4 cups water. That's how you figure out parts. So those 2 are done. Let's see if the chat has any questions or comments before we make our next brew. Okay, so we have science, says Jay. Uh, so those I've used before. There's going to be some tonight that I've never used, and we're going to talk about where I can send you for information about science-based things and what I'm doing and where it came from, because I didn't make this stuff up. I am going to share where I got the information as we go. So my food force journey says hello. Barry is here from Strums, Radios, and Cats. Dave is blinded. No sound. For real? Barry says I have sound. Sound is fine with Robin. Oh, it was just Jay. I was like, did I just say all that and no one could hear me? Okay, cool. Thanks, everybody, because we've had problems, right? Oh, there's Troy. Hey, welcome to this party. Howie's rolling out the knowledge. Coffee grounds, lawn clippings, leaves, kitchen waste, seaweed, wood chips, round leaf, dead goldfish, fish cleaning, leftovers, dead bird, dung of any kind, manure, biochar, and wood ash. That's right. Thank you for explaining the crowns to the chat because we had a question about it. I'm not going to go into it. Outback Tasmania, I'm so excited. Look who's on. I'm sitting here with my popcorn and my pop. Ready for a heap of gardening information. Tammy Harder, welcome to this. I am not wearing any safety glasses, just my regular specs here today. CR, welcome to this. Okay, so our next one we're going to make is called Fermented Greens Nitrogen Fertilizer. The purpose is the high nitrogen boost for leafy growth, things in the beginning of their growth. It takes 1 to 2 weeks to create. So what are the ingredients and ratios? We need 2 to 3 pounds. Oh, I scrolled something funny. 2 to 3 pounds of fresh green weeds. Today we are using comfrey. Comfrey is what our choice of plant is from the garden today. Nettles work, grass clippings work, kitchen greens work. Again, I am not using 1-gallon buckets because this is how much space we have. I'm using a quart jar and I am using a scissors and I am cutting up some of the greens. We're going to fill it 3/4 full with greens, top with water. Oh, you know what I didn't do on that last one? Let's go back. The molasses. Nobody said anything. Got to add the molasses. I think we're done with the compost and the worm castings. I got to put a spoonful of molasses in here. Just for fun, to extra boost it. So this one's the compost extract. I'll stir these up after the show. You guys don't need to hear me ting glass. And I can't shake it because it has a breathable lid. That would go everywhere. So let me do the worm castings and water with some molasses. Gotta read the recipe, y'all, okay? And then we'll come back to this other one. All right, so where were we? The greens? Chop greens to increase surface area. Sure. Okay, scissors. Greens. So I am using some of the flower, some of the stem. You know, that one I won't put in. But I do have like all kinds of pieces of the plant. And then it says 3/4 full. And I'm kind of pushing it down to pack it because isn't, more better? Look at this one leaf, how big it gets. Okay, so now place it in the bucket, pack down lightly. Okay, I better not jam it. Fill with the water to cover completely, adding the molasses and stirring. Cover loosely with a lid. Gas must escape. This one's going to get stinky. I am going to just put the molasses in now so I don't forget. This helps feed the microorganisms. It gives them food to multiply since we're not using air. And this is unsulfured blackstrap molasses. Back to the rainwater or dechlorinated water or filtered water. Does it say fill all the way? Cover it completely. I'm gonna call that good, I think. We need to make a label. And we gotta read the directions here. So we did the lid. Okay, now stir every 2 to 3 days. When liquid turns dark and smells earthy sweet, we strain it out. So straining with something like this, right, to catch the plant matter, and then we keep the liquid. I'm gonna write my label quick. Let's go back up to what are we doing here? Fermented greens, nitro. I'm gonna make a note of what it's for. 1 to 2 weeks. It is 8:21 today. So the dilution rate, you can use it as a soil drench, 1 cup concentrate, 10 cups of water, or use it as the foliar spray, which we talked about how to do earlier, 1 to 20. Okay. There's another one done. Okay, so maybe you've heard of Whey spray. So what I did is I left out my whole milk, just some of it, it wasn't a whole gallon or anything, on the counter until the curd separated from the liquid, the whey, and I didn't add anything to it. I just set it out in the warm temperature, whole milk from the store. It wasn't raw. It was what, pasteurized then, and it wasn't even organic. Okay. And then when you separate the whey, this is what you get. This is something I have to filter out still, but this is the whey, and I've been keeping it in the fridge because what I want to do, or what I wanted it for, was if I needed to handle powdery mildew. Now this is where I go, this is not backed by science, and I'm going to give you some science places after I talk about this. So the purpose is fungal disease control on leaves, time, instant use. Ingredients: 1 cup of fresh whey, which is this colored yellow liquid here. This came from whole milk, not yogurt or cheese straining. It was separated from whole milk. Now, this recipe talks about 1 cup of whey to 3 cups of water. But what I see most gardeners do is a 50-50. 1 cup whey, 1 cup of your filtered water, dechlorinated water, rainwater. So when you mix it, you put it in a spray bottle and you spray the leaves, the top and the underside, in the morning. So this is different than a foliar feed. In the morning, so they dry by night. You can apply it every 7 to 10 days. A lot of gardeners do it as a preventative and during maybe a battle with powdery mildew, and just having it be done once a month on their fertilizing schedule type of a situation. So now let's talk about where you can go if you want to know about powdery mildew, like specifically what is it and what it's about, how it shows up. So it doesn't like high heat summers. So if you have a mild summer, you'll have more powdery mildew. You can actually just wash it off every day. You can like lightly spray your leaves and it'll wash off. There are risks of like it staying in the soil and living in the soil. So in my description of this live video, why powdery mildew keeps coming back and how to finally stop it is going to have excellent tips on science-based ways to tackle powdery mildew. The other video I've provided says the weird powdery mildew fix that actually works. So none of those talk about the whey spray, FYI. Again, not science-based. And I actually haven't even used it yet. It's just been sitting in my fridge. Uh, the other thing I want to say is these recipes are coming from KNF, Korean Natural Farming. There is a fantastic video I found called Transform Your Garden in 2025 with Korean Natural Farming. And I'm going to read to you what's in this video that's in the description. I can't show the video because I'll get in trouble. So, it explains natural farming. It explains fermented plant juice, JDOM liquid fertilizer, mineral extract, vinegar and seawater, labs, lactic acid bacteria, JDOM microbial solution, OHN, oriental herbal nutrient, FFAA, fermented fish amino acid, JDOM wetting agent, JDOM sulfur, JDOM herbal solution, indigenous microorganisms, which is IMO. You might have heard of these before. He goes through all of it, how to make it, why it works, all of it. It's such a good video. So definitely, he did a way better job than I'm doing. I'm doing like real basic stuff here. Okay. So I'm going to hop into the chat. I'm actually going to move this so I can sit normal for a second because we still have 2 more, I believe, to make. But that hurts my back. So figuring out where to talk. Everybody's so chatty. I love it. Let's see here. Howie's throwing out hashtag pathway soil bank, green, brown layers, just like nature. Love that. Okay, Outback Tasmania molasses I use to feed it to my horse. My food forest journey. Is there a specific type of molasses that you use, or do you just use the molasses that's in your kitchen pantry? This is the molasses I keep in my kitchen pantry. So here it says unsulfured, and it says blackstrap molasses. I got it at the grocery store. Robin Gardens, have you ever done the ferment for a spray where you send the greens through a blender first? Excellent question. So, it really helps things break down fast when you blend something. Like, I'm going to talk about blending something in one of our next creations that we're going to do together. I have never done it. I told myself this year, we're going to get on a fertilizer schedule and I'm making them all myself. Did any of that happen? Nope. And there's reasons. You would still want to strain the matter. Now, it'll be very broken down, Robin. I just have concerns about things getting plugged. That's why I would still strain it. Sometimes you can just use a t-shirt to strain stuff, you know? Okay. Growing out the box says don't add the molasses because of the size of your jar. The microbes will overpopulate and use up the oxygen. So because I'm showing you here in the quart, it is going to get put in, like when we're done, I'm going to go put it in buckets. So growing out the box, I'm not going to have something crazy happen in my cabinet in my house. I can't sit here with 1-gallon buckets and do this. So thank you for the concern. Thank you for the message. Important for people watching. It's not going to stay in this quart jar. I'm going to dump these out into gallons and add the appropriate amount of water. It'd be 3 more quarts is what I need for water. So thank you, Growing Out the Box. Hello to you coming to the show. Yes, blackstrap molasses, that's unsulfured. Is there any other kind of molasses, Connie? I mean, I don't know. This is the only one I know about when I make cookies and all that kind of stuff. It's the only one I know about that works for in the gardening fertilizer conversations. It's the only one that's been recommended. And now, does it have to be my brand that I'm using? No, it's not. The only words we're worried about is unsulfured blackstrap molasses. Troy says, my tomato plants in the pots were looking very, very sad. I added a half a cup of hydrogen peroxide to the bottom watering system. 3 days later, they've never looked healthier. What a fun experiment. Tasmania ASMR came in. I saw you cut your toenails with those scissors, Shawnee. I am not the one that uses scissors for my toenails in this household. Okay, Robin Gardens must be talking about when Whey is sprayed on leaves changes the pH on the leaf. It must change so powdery mildew can't live on it. You know what I mean? Like I said, those links in the description are going to have huge amounts of knowledge talked about on the specific, what did she say? I swear she said there was like 500 types of powdery mildew or something, and it can happen on all kinds of plants. So Jay is sharing out really good links here. Robin says, knocking on wood before I say this, but I have skirted the normal powdery mildew nightmare this year, feeling blessed right now. You know what I think it is, Robin? Because it's so hot. It doesn't like to live in really hot weather. It really likes to live, the powdery mildew, in mild summers. So DCBs, hi, welcome. We're doing stuff over here. You know, words are hard, okay? DCB says, I watched a video on using molasses in your fertilizer. She is up in Canada, an actual science degree person. Yeah, it's probably the channel that I linked in my description, DCBs. Check it out. That's what Robin was mentioning. I don't actually have experience with it. Again, links in the description explain all of that. So let's make another one, shall we? Liquid bloom fertilizer, banana peel ferment. Purpose, potassium and phosphorus boosts for flowers and fruit. So that time when we need to switch from a nitrogen feed to something like this, it takes 1 to 2 weeks to create. What are our ingredients and ratios? 3 to 4 banana peels, fresh or frozen. 1 to 2 tablespoons of molasses or brown sugar, 1 quart jar, or bottled water to fill. So I did chop up banana peels that were fresh, and it's just the peel. Now, I've seen people blend the banana and the peel, which there's a playlist in the description to Garden Like a Viking. In one of his videos, the Bloom fertilizer one, shows the process, and that's how he did it. So, method. Chop up the peels small, place in jar, add molasses, fill with water, leaving 1-inch headspace. Again, I'm dumping these out. Oh wait, this one said it's in a quart. This one I won't have to dump out then. I've also seen something like this done. Maybe it was just the eggshell one with vinegar. You ferment it in vinegar. That one you have to really highly dilute because you can hurt your plants. But that's not what we're doing right now. Okay, cover loosely and ferment 7 to 14 days. Strain before use. Let's label this. Get some water in, put a lid on. Going back to what it's called. The date today, and then 1 to 2 weeks. So a lot of these, it's like create them and then go use them. It's not something that's just going to be sitting on your shelf waiting for you, right? Let's put the water in. And then dilution rate, soil drench 1 to 10, foliar 1 to 20. It said leave a 1-inch headspace. I can't see that. Okay. Headspace. And then ripping apart a mesh bag to put on with a ring. Should put it up here. This can't handle a whole lot of weight, so we got to be careful. If you're enjoying the stream, give it a like. It helps more gardeners like you find all of us. I also have live streams on vertical gardens, storing vegetables for the hunger gap, and growing food in small spaces. So now This one, you won't see all of it, but we can start the process together. Okay, because I don't have it like, oh, look, I've already done it, and here it is, the magic is right here. No, I didn't do that. Actually, let's go back. That one that we just made, the liquid bloom fertilizer, here's how you can boost it. You can add labs to it, which is what we're going to start to make now. And then the molasses was what we did. So now that we make the labs, when we get to the dilution, I can say it in a better way than what it says on the screen. So what do we got to do first? Did I say what? Lactic acid bacteria serum purpose boosts soil microbes, controls odor, aids plant immunity, time 7 to 10 days. So the ingredients. The stage 1 is what we're going to do together. It's the rice wash. So what I have here is just some white rice, and I need 1 cup. Sorry about the sound. Okay, I'll show you. One cup. And then I have 2 cups of water that is dechlorinated, filtered. Okay, so what happens is we do this, agitate it, and then we get our rice water wash, right? So swirl, strain, and I need to keep the water. So I have my strainer. And a thing to put it in. We're going to let it sit loosely covered for 2 to 3 days until it smells slightly sour. So I'm doing it this way, and then I'm going to pour it in a jar. And then I can cook the rice. There's something in the jar, it looks like. I just want to wash it out for a second. Okay. So here's what it looks like. See how cloudy it is? So where are we at here? This one? That's how much. Does it say it says loosely. Okay, yeah, so I can use a mesh. Let's put the lid on the molasses. I think we're done with that. I don't have cheesecloth or fabric on hand, so I'm just ripping apart the mesh bag. And I don't know if I brought another ring. So that one I'll have to put a ring on later. Ooh, we better label it. Okay. So this is the rice wash stage. And today's 8/21, and then it needs to sit 2 to 3 days. So what happens after that is what you guys can't see yet, but we'll talk about it. So then we're going to take this and add it to some whole milk. 1 quart of whole milk, either raw or pasteurized. Like I said, I just bought mine from the store, so pasteurized. And then you're going to let that sit for 5 to 7 days. And those curds are going to separate from the milk, just like it did with just the whey conversation. Same thing. And then you're going to strain, stage 3, strain the liquid. So the whey that has the labs, that's now the lab serum, into the jar. And then you can add some molasses to it for long-term storage. The dilution rate is a little funky. So it's like soil drench, 1 to 1,000. It does say 1 teaspoon per 2 gallons, foliar 1 to 500. I have a note here where it says 1 ounce per gallon, and you can store it in the fridge. So this is stage 1. Stage 2, I can't show you, where you add this to milk, 1 quart of milk, let that sit, strain that, and then you have the labs. And then you could have added that to your bloom fertilizer too. Okay? So let's do some pro tips. Let's get comfortable. I hope this is going okay for you guys. For all ferments, always use the non-chlorinated water. Rainwater is best. Cover loosely to allow gases to escape. Again, I have to say this again. I'm not keeping these in these quart jars for the recipes that needed a gallon. I'm taking them out of these. This was just for the show, and I'm putting them in 1-gallon vessels. Follow the recipe, okay? The smell, earthy sweet is good. Rotten, discards. Well, put it on your compost. Concentrates, cool, in a cool, dark place, unless it said it could go in the fridge. A lot of these, it's make it, ferment it, and then use it. We're not making these so they can sit on a shelf and just be there for us. The labs can. That's fine. So that was all of the things I wanted to make with you. I hope it made sense, and we will answer the questions to the best we can, but I got to figure out where we're going. Okay, Bowtie says we're having a mild summer. Gardening in Canada is that channel that I linked, because she's a soil biologist. Mother Earth Garden Club, welcome to the show. Oh, Bowtie has something. Garden Like a Viking. His playlist might disappear, so if you want to go in there and take notes, do it. Yeah, it's a free, watch whoever you want. I'm just providing information. So CR says with eggshell, can you substitute with lemon? So the eggshell fertilizer was it was with rice wine vinegar and eggshells in a quart jar, and it would bubble. And once it stopped bubbling, then you could strain it. And then you had to highly, highly dilute it because of the vinegar. And I don't know why lemon would be an acceptable substitution off the top of my head without reading a book. CR, I have no clue. It does not, I don't know where you came up with that. But it does remind me that I had another extra bonus one to talk about, the wood ash fertilizer. So it has to be burned wood ash that hasn't been rained on yet, because the rain would have washed all of its goodness out of it since it's so fine. And when you burn the wood to make the ash, it should be a mixture of wood. And remember, no paint, no plastic, no garbage, right? So you would take 1 part ash and 5 parts water in a bucket, and you would stir it really well. Just stir it a whole lot. And then you would use 1 cup per gallon to help feed your soil. It had to do with the whole bloom, flower, fruit conversation. It was like an extra thing you could do. And it's like, okay, so we have 2, 2 for having good, healthy soil microbes, 1 for nitrogen for leafy growth, 1 for flowers and fruits, and 1 for healthy immune systems in the plant, the microorganisms. DCB says, I like how she presents her information. It made me laugh when she mentioned not to crowd your plants, as she laughed at herself regarding her plants. I click subscribe. Yes, the video in the description is the powdery mildew video. My food forest journey says, cool, labs are supposed to be really good for the garden. I'm glad you're doing a recipe for it. I could really use a recipe. And it's like, there's gardeners, like obviously there's the J. Dom book, there's the KNF book. Eventually Garden Like a Viking is going to have a book. He's going to offer classes and courses first on, I was going to say universe. I meant the internet. I don't know what's happening in my brain. So I don't have any books. It was just stuff I gathered on the internet. Tammy Harder says, I just made a recipe tonight using an avocado pit, shredded it into a jar, cover with rubbing alcohol, let it sit in a cool, dark place, and strained. It's supposed to be good for aches and pains. Whoa, look at this. That's cool. DCB says, I like rice with yogurt. That's a fun fact. Okay, so let's break that down. Starch content of the kernel powdering. So, okay, let me ask this a different way. What was the... I want to know for labs. Anybody in the chat have this answer already and I'm wasting my time? Labs is a probiotic for plants. The specific question is, what is it pulling from the rice? Is it bacteria and starch to then feed microbes? I don't know. Maybe in that video in the description, yeah, starch has the answer. I can't remember. The one that I talked about that has all of the Korean natural farming stuff on it. Yeah. So you let the rice wash sit on the counter for 2 to 3 days and it'll ferment and it'll start to smell, what did it say? Sweet? Sour. It'll smell sour. So yeah, it's fermenting. And then that's when you add it to the milk. And then you let that sit out and the curds will separate and then you keep the liquid. And then that's labs. DCB says, give the enzyme some food to chew on. Robin Garden says, "Aw, Jay Dixon, thank you for the shout out. This week's video has tomato hornworms if anyone's misery needs company." My son was screaming like he found a hornworm, but it was just a woolly bear in the tomatoes today. I also found some tomato stems that had been damaged, possibly from that storm, and were just full of mold and rot and brown yuckiness. And I did not film it for you, sorry. DCB says, I think I just want to start a compost pile. Well, that's how we made one of these, is just with some compost. Winging it is great. Mother Earth says, I think you could add a compost pile to increase biome of the compost. Oh, add to a compost pile. Yeah, right? And then, you know what my other part of me is like? Once I have these finished and then they're diluted, it's like, just mix that all together and then dump it on the garden. Connie says this video is definitely one to save. Thank you for all of this information. My garden will love you. Yeah, experiment with it. Some people want to change ratios and push the limits of what's going to burn or hurt the plants and what's not. I'm just following what people say is best, right? Everyone has opinions, Bowtie, of course. DCB says, aren't you doing the eggshells for the calcium? We always just add it to the compost pile on the farm. Here's the thing about adding eggshells to your compost pile. Yes, do it. But it takes years for them to break down and the calcium to be soil plant available. So why people put eggshells in a jar with vinegar and let it ferment and then use that diluted on the plants is because it's instantly available calcium. And most soils naturally have enough calcium. What happens when calcium is diluted is too much watering, and then the plant isn't able to absorb it through its system. I don't know what that sentence means, Outback Tasmania. Lemon and Corona? Like the drink? I'm saying you can grow lemons. Grow lemons in an eggshell? Is what you're saying? Thank you for sharing Growing Out the Box channel, Jay. Connie says, this is my first time hearing about Garden Like a Viking. What? You should head over there. We get together every Saturday for gardening questions. So check out that link to his channel and subscribe. Outback Tasmania. Okay, back home now. I have, well, are you doing voice to text now? Because that's not right. 2 devices and now have her in stereo. Radio Jonesy, back at home. Should we talk about our totals, Radio Jonesy? Be right back, food check. There is the wonderful emojis that we have for the channel members. We appreciate all of you. Howie. Okay, so I didn't take a picture, so I don't really remember, but the thing was huge. It was a much bigger woolly bear than I'm used to seeing. It was very long. But no, I don't remember how big the brown and the black parts were, because I know about it'll tell you about winter, but we'll just have to go back and find it again. Hey, Rick, I did all of the presentations for all of the fertilizers that we made together. Now we're just chit-chatting. DCB says, Shawnee, wouldn't some of the solutions have a different pH? Then by adding them together, you could cancel some stuff out. Well, DCBs, do I really give a flying F about it? Nope. Don't care about pH levels. The plants will tell me if they're upset real fast. And I followed all the dilution recipes. And I'm dumping it all on the soil in the same spot anyway. So I could either dump them all separately or I could dump them all into one bucket and water it. You know what I mean? I am not a person that measures pH, if you can't tell. Now you can be, that's fine. Plenty of people are, but I'm not going to lose sleep about it whatsoever. DCB says, oh, that is what we did with all the extra eggs on the farm. Yeah. I have eggshells in my compost. Absolutely. Okay, it was yeah, it's okay. You know, people get my name wrong my whole life. Okay, Rick says, I've noticed the numbers are down there too. Garden like a Viking. Others, 2 numbers on YouTube down. Like views? The views are down? DCBs has a PSA. We need to pay attention to the woolly bears. They is smart. Adam is here. Lactobacillus is the bacteria that's derived from the rice. Okay. And the milk is what feeds them to multiply. There you go. Long story short. Thank you. Like I said, never made it, never done it, never used it. Not a scientist. I'm just spitting out information that has been said to me. Why would lemon juice work, CR? Explain to me why you think. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just not Googling it because I want you to entertain me and I want you to explain why lemon juice is going to do what the eggshell vinegar mix is doing for the garden. You lay it out for me. Let's talk. Yeah, well, he was acting like it was going to fly at him and I'm like, this is not going to hurt you. GCPs, never mind. Tell me how you really feel. Oh, the viewers on a live. I would agree. And I don't know what that's about. Is it because of time of year? Is it because of time of day? Is it because, the things I'm not going to say about this wonderful platform allowing me to talk to you right now? But I don't know. Right? Okay, here's Radio Jonesy's my competition. We're on a race to 4,000 watch hours. So I don't understand how you had that many you had 760, 740 yesterday and you jumped 100 subs? What? I mean, you have a great channel. That's just like, what is going on? And then 3,146 is your watch hour total. Great. Let's see. I have 794 subs and 3,308 watch hours, which we're now at the point where it's counting like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and that's when I don't put content out. So it's probably not going to change much until it starts counting this Monday's stuff, because it's 5 days behind. If that makes sense. Yeah, Adam, thank you for that. Absolutely. Jay says gardener's really busy and may not watch videos as much. Right. I'd have to go back and see if the replay is getting views for them, those channels, Rick, that we were talking about. Here we go. Bowtie's throwing his stuff in. I don't know what the view thing is. We were talking about subscribers, but he has 3,485 hours. He's also on the way. GT Junior grows in Alaska, driving but listening. I made all of these fertilizers in the beginning. Now we're just talking. Okay, Bowtie's trying to help CR. Lemon juice is acidic like vinegar. Is he saying put the eggshells in lemon juice? Is that what he's saying? Instead of putting the eggshells in rice wine vinegar? Robin says, CR, are you thinking it's the acid in the vinegar and lemon? Because, yeah, it's for calcium. I thought you were saying put lemon in vinegar, but maybe you're saying put eggshells in lemon juice. You help me figure it out, CR, before I type it into Google. DCBs, maybe people are on vacation. Well, what is that? Like, and then, yeah, Rick's like, people are busy with life. Absolutely. Yes, Adam came in. GT Junior Grows at Alaska's channel link. Well, DCBs, doesn't it seem suspicious? Like, let's talk tomorrow. About it. Okay, Outback Tasmania. Lemon Juice is a cool band. Oh, in Sydney that I've played with. I thought it was going to be a fun gardening. Got all excited. Thank you for that fact, Outback Tasmania. Howie is, oops, I bumped the mic, sorry, saying goodnight. And there's fishing happening for salmon. Just stomp the eggshells and throw the crushed shells in the soil. Yeah, they'll break down eventually. Get a good night's sleep and don't eat sugar, earthlings, and drink more water. Mother Earth Garden Club says CR. Since eggshells are a base and lemon is acid, the reaction would be similar, but I have no idea if the use of lemon will be a source of fertilizer. Here's what I think. Why would I waste precious lemon juice on a eggshell ferment for the garden when I could be drinking that or making Play-Doh with it? I'm just saying. CR's like, I know it's slightly different. Should we type it in? I think you're right, Mother. Rick, trying to help with ours. Help whoever you want and can. We all appreciate it as creators, right? And Radio Jonesy says, yes, the last video got plenty of subs. Okay. So you could see in your analytics that that's the video that got. That's so cool. Connie says, I was under the impression to become monetized on YouTube, you had to fulfill the obligations in 1 year. So what happens is after a year, any of the hours you've earned after you've hit, how do I say it? they leave. They drop off. I don't know if that makes sense. So yeah, in a 365-day period, you have to have what each tier requires, depending on, there's 2 tiers of monetization. I have the first tier already. I'm working on the second tier before my year is up because I don't want to be playing, I earned hours, but I lost hours. I earned hours and then I lost hours. That game, I want to just get it done. Oh, I know. My lovely, easily distracted by plants happening shirt. Isn't it great? Yeah, I'd have to go back and look on his channel to see if he's even getting replays. Bowtie says you don't want my subs. Yeah, I haven't made it, and I would not waste lemon juice. Is CR still here? Did I scare him away? I'm sorry if I offended you. Connie says, I'm at 90 watch hours. I have years before I'll be caught up to you. Well, live streams are the reason why I'm doing so great, because I don't make great videos. Robin Garden says, Mr. Google says lemon will break down the calcium in eggshells. Does it say then to dilute it and apply it to the garden? And again, I'm not wasting lemon juice. Sorry. DCB says whatever had the higher pH would cause the eggshells to release calcium faster, I think. Oh my goodness, we're going to make it to an hour. And then, yeah, I really don't have much to say, so we're not going to stay that long. Radio Jonesy is a great guy, but don't tell him I said so. Shh, everybody, he'll get a big, don't tell him. He'll get a big head. Yes, Play-Doh, DCBs, Play-Doh. Connie says that vinegar is a neutral on the pH chart. Lemon is not neutral. Well, there is a difference right there. Hairdresser for 18 years. Adam says, hey, sorry, in and out of the chat. I'm multitasking. You multitask. You're fine. Bochai says, I wouldn't waste either vinegar or lemon juice on eggshells. I've been putting the shells in my compost for 6 years. They're long broken down. Yeah. I don't have to do anything special to them. You just throw them in there. They get broken up. I have surprise compost goodies. Maybe I should film that and show you guys. Oh, Radio Jonesy saw it. Well, it takes as long as it takes, Rick. He's saying you need to leave eggshells 48 hours in vinegar to ferment. It depends on the temperature of the room. If it's a dark space, it depends if the eggshells were the ones from a store and they're bleached, if it's somebody's free range chickens, if it, you know what I mean? Like, we can't just say it takes 48 hours. It takes as long as it takes when you tap it and the bubbles stop. Then the ferment is done, right? Hey, CR is still here. Okay. Radio Jonesy. Okay, Jay's explaining it may be better than I did. 365 days to achieve the specific watch hour subscribers for levels they leave after that. Boche says watch hours are counted in the last 365 days, whether it's your first year like Shawnee Grows or your fourth year like me. Oh, you're getting some rain in Sydney, are you, Rick? I don't know. I just didn't know if I was competing you too much about his questions. And some people are allergic to lemons, like Mother Earth Garden Club. Botai says no, vinegar is not neutral on the pH scale. It's an acidic substance with a pH typically ranging from 2 to 3, well below the neutral pH of 7. See, this is why I don't care about pH. Jay says, thank you, Botai. I'm not dissing you for putting that in there. I just don't get into it. Jay Dixon, the catch is that the calcium is difficult for plants to uptake. Yes, for blossom end rot, it's not the true calcium issue. No, it's a water issue. Yep. Usually the person is overwatering or there was a downpour of rain and the plant needs time to adjust and the soil needs time to adjust to recalculate and talk to it and go, oh, okay, we can absorb this now. A lot of varieties of tomatoes for like the blossom end rot thing are just known to do that their first fruit flush. And so it's just whatever, take them off, don't get mad, right? Have consistent watering. And if it keeps happening, don't grow that kind again. Film it. Oh, the compost surprises? Yeah, I found more when I was getting that compost brought in. Oh, DCB says, I wonder if the eggshells are broken up really well if they break down quicker in the soil. People have talked about it in the world of gardening. Okay, is that a duplicate? Oh, he did put it in there again to add the period. Is someone going live in 3 minutes and you know who you are in the chat? You can answer me. Okay, good, CR. I'm glad it's to add to the conversation of let's use our brains late at night in gardening world. Thank you. Oh, no. Radio Jonesy says don't be a bum and smash the thumb. That doesn't did you hear my question? Are you going live when I'm done? Like you maybe were going to, or is that plan changed? Because I would like to know. And I won't fall asleep this time. Okay, so we talked about making all of these wonderful garden fertilizers. For today's topic bonus, my members have a special printable guide with the fertilizer cheat sheet. So it's going to tell you what it is, what's the purpose, how to do it, just like I did with you. It's a printable that you can just have in your gardening binder. So it's under members only posts, and then it'll say something about like natural fertilizer, because every single live I've done this week has a post with a printable. So I mean, you could print all of them. It's my gift to you, right? So coming soon, we're gonna not be live unless something crazy and I need to pop up. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm off always because I spend time with South Florida Sunshine Tropicals, Diva in the Dirt, Storms Radiant Cats. Plus, it gives me time to just breathe, right? But next week, coming soon, we're gonna have a show, and I'm gonna put all of this in one show. When to harvest things. How do we use underripe things? Let's say like a storm knocked something off, or we don't have enough time in our season. What can we do with it? And then what are the quickest, easiest preservation methods for said things? We're going to try all of that in one show. And that is all I have to say. And hi to Miss Sharon, if you're listening, of course. Some people are saying things. Mother Earth Garden Club. I buy calcium magnesium solution and add to soil, but if there's evidence of blossom end rot, I spray on the leaves. Bowtie says to Jay and Shawnee, I crush my shells by hand before dropping in the kitchen compost bucket. I'm not wasting the electricity to pulverize eggshells either. Bowtie says I have not had blossom end rot in years. Jay says to support Shawnee Grows, like, share, subscribe, become a member, watch past videos, check the affiliate links in the description, and comment. Always comment so we can chit chat, of course. Mortar and pestle is a method that Barry maybe uses. CR says to Bote, I use a glass bottle just like a rolling pin. Everybody has their own method for crushing eggshells. This is hilarious. Mother Earth Garden Club says I put my shells in a bag and then I stomp on them and chuck it in the compost pile too. Thank you, Jay, for saying check out pop-up live streams next week in the evening. Yep, it'll be after 9 p.m. Central Time, and I don't know what day yet. I don't think I'll be able to do 4 next week. I really don't. We'll see how I feel next week. Barry says, I will be playing it by ear Sunday. Laptop hard drive took its own life last night. Yeah, I saw, and you're running your system through an external hard drive. What's your long-term plan there, Barry? We can talk privately about it. Rick says, found garlic in my freezer. Forgot I put there. Yeah, look at that. Garden surprises. Vitamix, says Robin. We are at the 1 hour mark, so we are heading out. Lunchbox full of garlic. Oh, it was more than one? Oh my goodness. All right. So thank you for spending part of your day with me. The magic of garden ferments, simple ingredients, powerful results by making your own fertilizers and sprays. You're saving money, improving your soil, and building a healthier, more resilient garden. Remember, it doesn't have to be complicated. A bucket, some scraps, and a little patience can transform the way your plants grow. Don't forget to drop your questions in the comments. Let me know which ferment you're going to be trying first. And until next time, grow every day in every way. YouTube thinks this is the best video for you next here on the screen. So let's see if it's right. See you in the comments over there.